Great. Good morning, everyone. It is 9:38 a.m. on my Cordaro Jewelers watch on a beautiful but cold Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America, the place where the brave, like the veterans we salute today, whom we lost last year in this. But John Basiliga lets us pay tribute to them. And we remember him and his great Serenity Care Company. Like Arthur Art Pauley, late of Winchester, Virginia, but he was from Old Forge. Joseph Samsel, Music. Paul Sweeney, North Scranton. Debbie Fay, born Scranton, she was from Carbondale. Ronald Petrilla, Hazleton, and James Hagenbuch. He was from Danville. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, amazing, irreplaceable founding fathers, that government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction, not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, no matter how they use it. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, this ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it'll always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, we gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, albeit a bit late. I wanted it. I was listening to the Trump speech, and the beginning of it was of significance when he talked about Greenland. And he said, just so to recap in case you missed it, he said that we will not use force to take Greenland. Okay? But he doesn't take a breath. I'm waiting for him to take a breath. He doesn't take a breath. He just goes on forever and ever. I watched his press conference yesterday, and it's exhausting. I said, the thing is this. Somebody asked if this was on, meaning the Trump speech during the morning show, would they leave it on? Well, I thought it was significant for the Greenland portion of it, because that's where the tariff and trade tensions have re-emerged with Europe. I love that he's speaking to these people right in their faces. And he's not trying to be popular. He's not trying to be liked. He's trying to represent America. But I just can't. I mean, I can only listen so long, to be honest with you. He's just on and on and on and on. Yeah, somebody says, Bob, this guy rambles more than you do. No, this is rambling, exaggerating, and he's a very bigly good at math. Well, it was an important focus of it because he's substantially reduced tensions with this speech. He's going to wear them down and pound them into the ground with the rest of his speech. But the bluntness of it and the directness is absolute. It's just great. It's just amazing. And no one knows how to handle it even better. So, yeah, I mean, he'll go on and on. We couldn't keep carrying it. But in any event, we're here. Trump is in Davos, Switzerland, telling Europe and the global elite what he thinks and what he's going to do. We talked about our own housing. Talked about our own economy, our own military. He explained why we need Greenland. And he'll continue to make that case. And you know, the one thing that has impressed me, the World Economic Forum, just particularly when Joe Biden was in office, it went on without him. It didn't matter what he said, what he did, nothing. Now, everything grinds to a halt when Trump speaks. Nothing starts until Trump arrives. America is at the center of the stage in the world. And that's expressed in Davos. We're going to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll come back. We got a lot to talk about, much to do. And we'll keep monitoring Donald Trump speaking. I find it hilarious, but it is exhausting simultaneously. We'll take a break and be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend of the veterans, patriot, lover of this country, John Basiliga. Featuring today his great Serenity Care personal care community. 4 locations, Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care units at Mid-Valley and Kingston locations. All 4 of these facilities have been completely renovated inside and out and accepting new residents. John has a passion for providing the highest quality senior care in the area and beautiful personal care homes for seniors to live in. The gold standard in senior care in Northeast PA, Serenity Care. Arthur Art Poley. We lost him January 1st. He was 87, residing in Winchester, Virginia. Born in Old Forge back in 1938. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Scranton and served our country in the United States Army Reserve, receiving his Expert Marksman Medal. He spent his career in the insurance industry and retired as an insurance executive for General Rhee. He loved to golf and known as the first to hit a hole-in-one on the 9th hole at Heritage Hunt Golf Club. Dedicated member of Holy Trinity Catholic Church, Gainesville, Virginia, and Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic Church in Winchester. They volunteered at Prince William Hospital. Took great pride in providing for his family, including his children and great-grandchildren. Survived by his wife, Helen Ann Kramer, whom he married back in 1962. His sons, his daughter, his grandchildren, all 6 of them. His great-grandchildren, 3 of those, and other family members left behind for his memory. Arthur Art Poley. Joseph Samsel. We lost him January 4th. He was from Music. He resided in Music for his entire life, forming lifelong friendships and a deep pride in his community. A Riverside High School graduate in 1968, he proudly served this country as a Vietnam Army veteran before embarking on a long and rewarding career as a postal carrier for over 35 years. Man, we loved our mailmen. He shared 50 years of marriage with his beloved wife, Claire. Their partnership was a loving one built on devotion, laughter, and family. Together, they raised 2 sons, the pride of his life. His 3 grandsons were the absolute light of his life as well and gave him strength and purpose throughout his illness. A gifted athlete and baseball player in his younger years, he became a respected coach and later the most loyal and supportive spectator for his kids' and grandsons' sons' sporting events. Joe was a steadfast friend, known for his reliability, generosity, and selflessness. He was the life of the party. He never missed his annual appointment with Dr. McGillicuddy. Joseph Samsel. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Allie Gallo. All of this brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resorts. And things are hopping up there. Conditions are perfect for skiing, snowboarding, and whatever else. They've now also got those great tents and a big, big event coming up on the 31st where you could do a polar plunge to help Special Olympics. Today, morning sun, then cloudy and breezy, high near 30, 17 right now outside the studios. Tonight, cloudy with a chance of overnight snow showers, 25. Thursday, cloudy, breezy, and milder, high near 40. Friday, partly sunny and cooler, high near 30. Somebody texted into me. They said, Bob, don't tell us to run the water and talk about freezing pipes. I said, no, I've got too much respect for you. I think I know what to do with your pipes. Murph tells us this date, 1959, the Coasters released their hit, Charlie Brown. Donald Trump taking questions now at the World Economic Forum. And I say this in a positive way as well as a negative way. He's exhausting. He just keeps going and going and going. It is beyond impressive. It really is. The level of energy. And to go from literally a corpse to this kind of energy is stunning. It's truly stunning. Joe from Trips Park says, Greenland will be like the Panama Canal on steroids with a security issue sprinkled on top in the not-so-distant future. Much easier to get ahead of this now than to try to yank it from China or Russia later. Amen. That's the point. And he'll get it done in one form or another, which will be accommodative to Denmark and Europe's tender sensibilities. Now, listen, are we going to listen to these fools in Europe who are literally destroying their own countries? They're destroying their cultures. They're destroying their own cultures and countries, and we're going to take advice from them? We're going to follow their lead in anything? No. My word. Listen to the dumbest people on the planet. The most disrespectful of their own citizens, the most disrespectful of their own culture, the most disrespectful to Western civilization, which made this world great. And we're going to listen to them and take their advice and worry about their tender mercies? No. That's why we love Trump. Well, my Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:01 and change. And a reminder, look at Valentine's Day is coming. You better start looking. Get to Picardo's. And by the way, if she likes watches, we've got a lot of watches. If you like watches, we got a lot of watches. Raymond Weil, Breitling, Oris, Longines, Michelle, Shinola, Luminox, Swiss Army Seiko, Tory Burch, Victorinox, Bulova, G-Shock. It is your watch store, Picardo Jewelers, downtown Scranton. We'll be back. Great. Good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:10 and change here in the great Northeast. This beautiful but frigid Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care senior care community, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost recently, but celebrate today thanks to John. Like Joseph Samsel of Music, Art Poley, late of Virginia, but he was from Old Forge. Paul J. Sweeney, North Scranton. Debbie Kane Fay, she was from Carbondale but born Scranton. Ronald Petrilla, Hazelton, and James Hagenbuck of Danville. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all who dare to listen for the balance of this morning. Oh, Lord. So the trolls, they're consistent. We love you because you listen. You're part of our large dysfunctional family, but you're stupid. You're really stupid. You've got such a warped view of the world, I really can't even help you. So you're going to have to be a blind man without a cane. And why you choose to do it. By the way, it's a choice to be stupid. It's a choice to be ignorant. It's a choice to sound idiotic. Here's the troll, one of the trolls. Love Trump? In 1 year, he's turned this country into a shithole. A what? How? What way? Please tell me. Nobody wants to come here to visit. Like, you think this is what the left thinks. If they make a statement, it becomes true. They listen to it on CNN, they repeat it, and they think that makes sense. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Somebody said, nobody wants to come to visit, may get thrown in jail by ICE for no reason. Where do you get, I know where you get your sources of information, but your stupidity in regurgitating that information is stunning. This is a dangerous country now, safer than it ever was. And I will gladly, the troll says, I will gladly listen to Europe over Trump. You are the fool, Bob. Yeah. In Europe, in major capitals like Brussels and Stockholm and Paris and London and its environment, you cannot go, the cops can't even go into parts of those cities. But yeah, they're doing great. You're stupid. I can't believe this stupidity. I really can't. So, you know what, troll? Done with you for today. You're just too stupid to even talk to today. I use the trolls, and we're glad they're listening. I use the trolls for illustrative and educational purposes. And yet, they're so ignorant, so dumb, so blind, it gets, you want to feel sorry and you want to check them into a mental institution. You really do. And they had no complaints about having a vegetable in the White House. They had no complaints about a dumb, empty vessel, cackling hyena like Kamala to be our president and continue the ruination of this country. Unbelievable. It's quite amazing. Yeah, somebody said, bring back the dog-faced pony soldier award of the day, add auto pen to it. I know. This troll, who, by the way, troll, come up with a nickname for yourself. Because there's more than one troll, and you're sort of the number one troll, but man, it is scary. It is scary stupid. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back because we've got a local troll that we want to play, and they are amongst us. Stupidity is amongst us. Oh, because we just elected Paige Cognetti in Scranton, we re-elected her 2-1. There's a lot of stupidity. We'll be back. The Four Seasons. Murph says this date, 1963. Do you imagine the length of these careers? They released their hit Walk Like a Man. I know he's out there like a corpse when but still, amazing stuff. And Jefferson Davis, remember that? 4 other Southerners whose states seceded from the Union resigned from the U.S. Senate. This date, 1861, presaging the War of the States. Bob Cordaro with you on WILK. So, somebody says, Bob, LTS nickname for the troll, LOTY, Libtard of the Year, says Slick. These are scary people. They're still talking about Epstein, the same troll, the same idiot. Wow. Scary people. Scary stupid. I'm just astonished. Let's go back to our own homegrown. We have a Scranton City Council person, Jessica Rothschild. And Jessica Rothschild, her claim to fame is that she's a lesbian. I mean, okay. And that's my reaction. But also, she's got a doctorate in physical therapy, but she's got to be called doctor. It's just like Jill Biden. I don't know what this is. It's a sign of massive insecurity, obviously. But let's hear this fool on Scranton City Council opining on left-wing stupidity. Bulldog? Murdered. Yeah, liar. You're a liar. Wrong use of the word, by the way. Yeah, she's real worried about our community. Yep. Wow. Gosh. This insanity. I want you to think how stupid she is. Now, she should have written something down. That rambling, saying nothing. All right, let's check with the chief. Let's check with Chief Carroll. Great police family, by the way. Let's check with the chief, Jessica Rothschild, Dr. Rothschild. Doctor, let's check with the chief of police and ask him what he would do if someone parked in the middle of a street and blocked it and laid on their horn and then mocked the Scranton police when they came up to them, and then drove at them when they were asked to get out of their car. Drove at them, and with one Scranton cop hanging on the door handle as she accelerated and another standing in front of the car. Please tell me what he would, ask him what he would do, you idiot. Wow. These are people, that's why I say I live in Scranton. I don't know how much longer I could live there. I'm among people who voted for this. I live among people who voted for this. It's not just stupidity, it's outright insanity. So, Jessica Rothschild, let us ask Chief Carroll. Again, great police family. If some idiot drives their car and turns it to block a street, to block Scranton police from doing their jobs, what will happen, particularly if they accelerate at them like this jackass did and got herself killed? Wow. You know what you have to be scared? If you're that stupid, you should be scared. You should be terrified of everything in life because you're that idiotic. So I guess I get it. These are scary people. Somebody says, one of the trolls, you're completely turning that situation around to benefit ICE. The woman was murdered, and she did not block the road. What were you watching? She blocked it for 3 minutes. Wow. Wow. You can't be that blind. You cannot be. So the choice is either stupid or willfully ignorant. I'll take willfully ignorant to be polite to you. The woman was murdered, really. You know nothing about anything, obviously. You're dumb, and you choose to be. Sorry for you. We'll take a break and be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend, John Basiliga, and his great Serenity Care personal care community. 4 locations, Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. All 4 of these locations have been completely renovated inside and out, accepting new residents. John has a passion for providing the highest quality senior care in the area, and he's doing it. Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston, dementia services at Mid-Valley in Kingston. The gold standard of senior care in Northeast Pennsylvania, Serenity Care. Debbie Kane Fay. She was just 66 when we lost her January 5th. Born in Scranton, a graduate of Scranton Central High School. Lackawanna County Vocational Technical School. She received a degree as a licensed practical nurse. Prior to retirement, she spent many years at Allied Services Developmental Disabilities Group Home as an LPN. She spent her career as a nurse touching countless lives with her compassionate care and professionalism. She served this country and all of us and was proud to be in the United States Army. Known for her strength, courage, kindness, and generosity. After being diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma, she fought with that same strength, courage, and grace. Outside of her career as a nurse, she loved to spend time volunteering as a Girl Scout leader. Throughout her 66-year journey of life, she touched so many people with her generosity and selfishness. She's survived by 6 children, 18 grandchildren, 5 great-grandchildren, 2 sisters, 3 brothers, nieces, nephews, and many other family members. Tragically, she was preceded in death by a grandson, Justin Orms, and her former spouse, Martin Fay. Debbie Kane Fay. Paul Sweeney. He passed on January 5th this year. He was from North Scranton. He was but 76. He was surrounded by his loving family, including his wife of 56 years, Joyce Hynowski Sweeney. They'd been married in 1969. Born in Scranton, educated at the Scranton School District, and later attending the University of Scranton, where he studied criminal justice. He proudly served this country in the United States Marine Corps, Alpha Company, 2nd Platoon as a machine gunner. Veteran of both the Vietnam War and the Gulf War Desert Storm. A combat wounded veteran. Recipient of 2 Purple Hearts for us. An honor that reflected his bravery, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to his fellow servicemen and his nation. He was a dedicated employee of the Tobyhanna Army Depot, where he worked for 30 years as a sheet metal mechanic. His work often took him to places both foreign and domestic, including Germany, which was one of his favorites. Devoted husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, known for his strength, loyalty, and quiet generosity. In addition to his beloved wife, Joyce, he's survived by his daughters, his sons, brothers, sisters, 9 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren, and many other family members. An amazing legacy for our veterans this hour. That's Paul J. Sweeney. Our Veterans Tribute brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care Personal Care Community. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Allie Gallo. Well, Montage Mountain, when I think weather, I think Montage Mountain. When I think Montage Mountain, I think weather. And here it is. Today, morning sun, then cloudy and breezy, high near 30. Tonight, cloudy with a chance of overnight snow showers, 25. Thursday, cloudy, breezy, and milder, high near 40. Friday, partly sunny and cooler, high near 30. That's your weather, brought to you by our friends at the mountain, Montage Mountain. You can see it from 81. The Byrds. Murph tells us this date, 1965, they finished recording their hit, Mr. Tambourine Man. That was Wes Austin on, he wasn't rushing off to Mensa meetings in the first place. But as he's achieved more fame and whatever, Bruce Springsteen has gotten dumber and dumber and dumber. I think I've told you this. I went to see McCartney, who assiduously avoids politics in his concerts. And Springsteen was there because it was in New Jersey, and he sang a song. I said, good, now I've seen Springsteen. Because if I was ever in the audience when he started throwing that kind of spit around, I would be booing him and screaming at him and cursing him down. What an idiot. A world-class idiot. Wow, Murph has cut him out of the music list. I mean, Born in the USA, even though it's negative about the country, so it's his only, they all sound the same. I'm done with them. But thanks, Wes Austin. We love to play him. Good guy to follow. Hey, let's go to our man, Don in Pittston. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I want to talk about a few things. First of all, I want to talk about Minnesota. Then I want to talk about Fetterman and McCormick. The first thing, I took it years ago, about 30, 40 years ago. It's called the Weapons Training Act. I worked with the State Police and Armed Guard, Act 235. They teach you, how to use the weapon. It's a whole course, everything. So I went through that. So I know what they're doing in Minnesota. They're not enforcing the law. When ICE is leaving that facility, you should have a perimeter. I would back maybe up like this. If I was working in Minnesota like they should, like with PA, you'd have 200 yards of state police as the ICE would come out of a tunnel. You wouldn't have all these people, protesters, jumping at ICE agents' vehicles and hitting them with hammers and ice picks and smashing windshields and stuff. So they're not enforcing the law up there, up in Minnesota.
No, the cops have abdicated. No. The mayor is a sickening disgrace.
They're not doing their job.
All of these incidents, like everything else with the left, they're causing them. They're causing the problems.
That's what Fetterman said. He was with McCormick. You can't just attack ICE agents doing their job. You stand back. Why don't you have the state police at least line the perimeter of 200 yards as they drive out of the facility? You don't let people jump on cars and then they have to get out and fight them. They want this for the media, for all the liberal media, the MSNBC and stuff.
By the way, Donald, it provides a very convenient distraction from the fraud. Trump said it's up to $18 billion. It's insane.
Right. You don't let people do that. You know that. Your son's in the law enforcement. Yep. You make a perimeter and hold the crowd back. You don't want them to jump on a vehicle and drive away on the hood of the car or something like that. How ridiculous. You agree? Yeah.
These people are asses. That's why we played this fool, Dr. Jessica Rothschild on Scranton City Council. And I will tell you this, if you're as dumb as she is, if your worldview is that insane, you should be scared of life. You should be scared of a lot of things.
The only shimmer light you got is Fetterman. Like he said, he was on TV with McCormick. He said, I'm just telling what's reality, the truth. And they want a primary and they hate him. You can't even tell what's right or wrong. Now you have to lie and cheat and go against law enforcement. You got to tell people to break the law just because you don't like Trump. It's ridiculous.
It's insanity.
What's wrong with these people?
We've never seen this level. We've never seen. I don't know. We're probably about the same age. I'm 64, about to be 65. So we're a little young for the Vietnam protests.
Right, exactly.
Now, they were fighting for something. They were protesting about something. These people are just making it up.
You're fighting for criminals, globalists that come over here and they're vandalizing. You're giving them money. You're funding them to do this. People can see it for what it is.
Yep.
But the media twists it around and make on the good people are the bad guys. That's the problem. Like the police, they're not going to hurt you. ICE isn't knocking on your door or my door or anyone else's. No. They're just going after the criminals. So you're engaging them. I told Sue Henry that if I told you ICE was up in Petro, you'd say, "Oh, I'll go down Oak Street down through Pittston. I don't want to get involved in that. I'll take a different road." You wouldn't go up there and start waving a sign or banging on their car
and block their vehicles and
Yeah,
and mock
exactly.
them while
It's
they're
so
trying to do
obvious
their
what you're
job.
doing.
Yep, these are insane
Because
people.
they all know that it's a fraud. That's why they know they're going to go to jail. He's going to get the guy. Wall said, "Oh, now he wants to turn down the temperature. Come on up, we'll talk, we'll sit down." It's a little too late, isn't it?
Yep.
He's the guy that wanted to run the Gestapo. Called him after he said shake hands and move on.
Yep.
Then he said, "I'm going to run a big fiasco against Trump in all 50 states," and a tragedy hit, and he realized that we had to turn down the temperature. But like I said, the only one on that side is John Fetterman. That's it. And it's like Fetterman's being persecuted just for telling the truth.
Yep.
It's not even about politics anymore. And it's just so sad.
Absolutely.
Like McCormick said.
Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure, Donald. Hey, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Hey, before I go to break, because I don't want to forget this, because it's brief but beautiful. Mother Teresa St. Teresa for January 21st. The world is changed by your example, not your opinion. We'll be back. The Buckinghams. Murph says this date, 1967, they were moving up the charts with their hit Kind of a Drag. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. Somebody texts in, first of all, I'm not a troll. Second of all, I have my opinion. Third of all, she shouldn't get shot in the face 3 times. And then called an effing bitch because she didn't move her car for 3 minutes. It's not only that she... Did you watch the videos? What's the matter with you? Seriously, you are a troll. I can't give you a better name. You didn't watch the video. I watched it from every angle, from before, after, or beginning. She blocked the road. She laid on her horn to interfere with an ICE operation. They asked her to move. She refused. They asked her to get out of the car. She refused. When he went to open the door, she accelerated directly at an ICE agent, dragging another ICE agent whose hand was stuck on the handle. By the way, she did that for her wife, too. This is how much of an idiot you're talking about. Her wife was hanging on the other side of the car and almost got hurt. And you know what they say about opinions. Your opinion means nothing. The facts, the truth, the reality means everything. She assaulted, she disobeyed. First of all, she broke the law, blocking the road. Second of all, she disobeyed a lawful order. Third of all, she drove at and was prepared to drag 2 law enforcement officers. What's the matter with you? Seriously, what is the matter with you? There's no other way to see this. There's no opinions here. There's your feelings. But we're adults. You get past your feelings. And you get back to fact, truth, and reality, which apparently you cannot do. Wow. Somebody texts in, believe me, God forbid, if the good witch doctor was assaulted walking down an alley in Trenton by an illegal immigrant, she'd be the first one screaming from the rooftops that we need more ICE. And that's what they're all complete hypocrites. They're all liars. See, you have to lie about the situation in order to even have an argument. And we're not going along with the lies. Sorry. And if you want to be a useful idiot, if you want to be a liar, if you want to be a hypocrite, feel free. It's a free country. But don't think your opinions and your feelings are going to be respected. They're not. Not on this program. Wow. RW says anything can be a deadly weapon is what I learned in the academy. A pencil, a car is a 3,000-pound deadly weapon. If the officer was killed, I'm losing where it continues. Well, and anyway, yeah, if the officer was killed, now what? I've got kids. I want you to go to her mindset. She drops her child off, who she's got responsibility for. By the way, she lost her first 2 children to her first husband. Child endangerment charges, by the way. This is not a normal person. A normal person doesn't do what she did. So she puts herself in harm's way, and she receives harm. Wow, that's amazing. How could that possibly happen? Whew. It's unbelievable. And there's elected officials from Jessica Rothschild all the way down to the idiots in Minnesota. And they're liars and they're hypocrites. One of the trolls, Bob, look at the placement of the ICE agent's feet as he shot her driving by him. He didn't have to shoot twice after the first shot. You don't shoot one bullet. You shoot till the threat has been neutralized. And it was neutralized when she was hit and jerked the wheel to the right instead of running him over. The first bullet went into the front of the windshield. What does that mean? It means she was driving right at him. Undeniable. Fact. Truth. Reality. And you people will argue lies and hypocrisy till you're blue in the face. I know how to carry on, so I'm not blue in the face. Unbelievable. And they just keep doing it. Somebody says, Bob LTS, you sound like Tom Hanks when you're fired up. Crying? There's no crying in baseball. Yeah. There's no stupidity in fact, truth, and reality. There's no denying it. Thank you for that. All right. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:01. 11:02 now. That means it's time for the news with Brian Hughes. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. 11:09 and change here in the great Northeast. That's what my Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me. And it is a beautiful but frigid Wednesday, January 21st, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Serenity Care personal care community, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we salute today, having lost them this year. Like Paul Sweeney, North Scranton, Debbie Kane Fay, Carbondale, but born in Scranton, Joseph Samsel, Music, Art Poley, Leda, Virginia, but he was from Old Forge, Ronald Petrilla, Hazelton, and James Hagenbuck, Danville. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle by gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that because of our commitment to common sense and because we don't have time for stupidity, we don't have time for willful ignorance, we don't have time for delusion, we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for you in a world where all of these things are regularly trafficked by the media and the left. Quickly, I got this. I want to give credit to who sent. Oh, and, we have a little text group called Club for Common Sense, about 6 of us. There's a woman by the name of Pam Grier. Now, she's a little heavier from the Jackie Brown movie, but I recognize her. She was on, this is what these people do. She was on The View. So she's born in 1949, okay? And I'm trying to find it, and I'm getting through ads and all this nonsense. Son of a gun. I'll try to find it for you. But she's on The View. She tearfully claimed that her mother had shielded her eyes from seeing a lynching victim hanging from a tree when she was a child living in Columbus, Ohio. When asked by co-host Sonny Hostin if she faced a lot of racism growing up in Columbus, Grier, the daughter of a member of the military, answered the military wouldn't allow black families on the base. Now, that's an outright lie. So you had to live in an apartment. The family chose to live where they chose to live. She's trying to reach her inner Rosa Parks. She says, and you couldn't take the bus. You couldn't get on a bus in Columbus, Ohio in the 50s. Sometimes we would go from tree shade to get back to the apartment. Then she says, she recalled this peculiar story in which she claimed her mother shielded her eyes from seeing a lynching victim hanging from a tree in Columbus, Ohio. Oh, she wasn't done yet. She said, my mom would go, as though it happened all the time, don't look, don't look, don't look, and she'd pull us away because there was someone hanging from a tree. Well, the credulous audience of The View gasping in horror. Wow, she said, it triggers me today. This is like Jessica Rothschild. If you're mentally ill, you're triggered by imaginary things and delusions. And she says, in Columbus, Ohio, if a white family supported a black family, they're going to get burned down, killed, or lynched as well. Now, here's the fact. And they didn't fact check her on The View. Disney, the producers, shamefully didn't correct her. The last lynching in Ohio took place in 1911. Pam Grier was born in 1949. And by the way, the source is the Black Holocaust Museum. In fact, according to that same museum, there has never been a lynching in Columbus, Ohio. And they just do it and say it. And then these fools just, oh my gosh. They want to show their compassion for everything Pam Grier made up that she lived through. Wow. Let me say, all of Springsteen's CDs are going in the landfill, that scumbag boss bag. As Ralph Cramden would say, you are a bum, says R.W. Oh, my God. All these musicians, somebody else said, all these musicians and Hollywood actors that are against ICE are against the American way and the safety of our children from murderers, rapists, and drug traffickers. Their kids are protected by armed guards and gated mansions. Dirtbag hypocrites. It's okay for me, but not for you. If you hate America and a lawful land, move to North Korea and see how safe you feel. This is Art. Derek checking in. He says the last public lynching was in Indiana somewhere. Well, that may be so. LTS back at you. These are sick people. They're mentally ill and they get treated like that's why we can't treat them like they're normal. Some people say, well, you use all those names. I really don't know what else to call them. They're mentally ill people being treated as though they're normal. It's incredible. I looked at every angle of video from that Minnesota incident. She was 1,000% wrong. The officer had to do what he did. He wasn't only protecting himself, by the way. He'd been dragged 2 months earlier by another jackass that I pray is in jail. He'd been injured. He saw his partner being dragged because she accelerated as soon as he tried to open the door, and she drove at him, the second officer. Wow. Joe from Old Forge. Hi, Joe.
How you doing, Bob?
Good.
Bob, you're talking about this and you're talking about that, and you're getting fired up. You are.
Yeah.
Correct?
That's what I do.
Yeah. And so one of your callers said you sound like Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And
well, they were saying it in a good way.
Yeah, I understand that. A lot of your callers, they say about having common sense. Now, and you looked at all the angles like how everyone has looked at all the angles.
Apparently not, by the way, Joe. Apparently not.
True.
Let's see what you've done. Go ahead.
Okay. Now you're saying that the car was coming at him, so he took out his sidearm and fired at her.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna say about January 6th. Now, I know you're gonna go off and say, "Hey, that was January 6th, different circumstances and stuff like that." But they got orders. Hey, keep your ground. This and that. What if the people didn't follow the order? What if they got shot? Just like how
and a woman did.
Good, the woman did. When the other side be up in arms.
Some were. She was unarmed.
One was.
She was
unarmed.
She was on. By the way, there are significant differences. I don't say that cop, the Capitol Hill police officer, should be prosecuted for killing that woman. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time, behaving stupidly.
Yes, correct. She jumped in, she broke the glass, or
she didn't break it. Others were breaking. She was actually
yes.
More of an observer from the film I saw.
Yes. Now, but what about the other people spraying at January 6th, spraying the bear spray, and with the police officers squishing the one officer, hitting them with stuff? Now they were told to get back. They were told all the other stuff.
Well, by the way,
But what if-
a different. By the way, there is no comparison between the situations. Number one, number two, the January 6 cops, because of Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington D.C., refused National Guard troops because Nancy didn't like the optics, and therefore these fools who were acting like idiots stormed into the Capitol. Some of them, however, and let's be fair on, were guided into the building by Capitol Police. The guy with the moose horns was guided onto the Senate floor and to the Senate floor by Capitol Police. Why? I have no idea. But when an officer or a group of officers is overwhelmed, then they have separate tactics. And,
Correct.
And they may have executed them properly. They may not have. But Nancy Pelosi refusing the National Guard is the root of that problem that day.
Okay.
And they were all wrong for going in. Even going in the building when the Capitol Police tells you to go in the building, that's a tougher call.
Okay.
But the guys who broke through the windows, if they got shot, they got shot.
Yep. Like the Capitol Police, he did this job because Congress was getting out of there, and he told them to go this way to the rotunda, or past the rotunda to where they meet, so he did his job telling them to go there, why they stuck out to the tunnels and stuff like that. Yes, like how you said, the tactics, that's correct. But what about, I'm not saying but to move on. I know I only have that much time. What about when ICE goes to Philadelphia? What's going to happen? They tip over cars when they win the Super Bowl,
But let me ask you a question. Should they not enforce the law because there is scum running the city like Larry Krasner?
Okay, there is people that break the law that they're in.
And by the way, they're in
illegally.
Philadelphia. They're doing their job.
Yes.
They're not just in Minnesota. Minnesota has leaders who choose to ask people to break the law. That's why. And they're trying to distract from the billions in fraud in their state. So they're trying to create this problem.
Well, that might be true, but the leaders told them to, hey, record it. Record it
scumbag
because
clown Governor Walz. Yes.
Well, we don't have to name call.
Yes, we do.
By
yes,
you
we
name
do.
calling
He's
people,
a scumbag. Period.
by,
There's no redeeming quality there.
Bob, you have to remember. You are educated, but some of your listeners aren't. So they do the same thing, and they act, just like our president. It's not him; it's the office that he keeps. He's got to represent our office of the president of the United States.
If I go through a litany of what Governor Walz is and what he's done, you will agree with my characterization unless you deny fact. But that's another story.
Facts are facts.
Yes.
They're black and white. Facts are facts. Yes, they are. They're black and white. There's no gray area. I understand that. But you have to understand, the office that you represent the people. And, you should be bigger than, some of the, the name calling and stuff like that.
Send me some synonyms. I'll try to use them.
That's true. But you have to understand some of the people aren't educated. President Trump even said that.
By the way, education in this country makes people dumber. It doesn't make them wise.
It
doesn't make them wise.
I disagree with that.
No, believe me, I had lots of education. I've watched lots of people that are supposedly educated. We've got a doctor on Scranton City Council who doesn't know the difference between.
They know how to do their research, though.
Yeah, well,
they know how to do
no,
their
they
research.
don't. They know how to lie. They know how to lie. That's it.
You know,
I listened to her
they know
lie. I
their
played
facts.
a clip of her. She doesn't know her facts. She doesn't know anything. She makes it up and then makes an argument after she makes it up.
I have to disagree with you on that. You
Joe,
know,
it's my job on this show.
I heard a lady in the glider the other day just saying about all this stuff, and she must have scam email 400 times. If she doesn't have a server that eliminates
Joe, you're going all
spam
over
email.
Joe, you're going all over the place.
Oh, I know.
Your point is to not use rough language when discussing idiots. That's your point.
My point originally
and
was...
I get it. My mother makes the same point to me.
With the shooter from Minnesota, with the ICE agent, just because maybe some people thought that her tires were pointing in a different direction, and you were saying...
All right, let me say this clearly. We know when the shots rang out after acceleration. Do you agree with me on that point?
After she accelerated. Adam, she accelerated when she got fired.
No.
When she got shot in the head.
No.
And
After
her car turned
she was dragging an ICE agent who had his hand on the door handle. She was also dragging her wife, who had her hand on the opposite door handle. The first shot went through the front windshield, which is it's impossible that officer was not in direct line and trajectory of her car, or that shot wouldn't go through the front windshield.
Bob, then why did they deny the doctor to go help her and she bled out?
I don't know that that's a fact. You're hearing a lot of bullspit.
That's not
and
a
by
fact.
the way,
It was on the video.
You're falling
he said,
for it.
I'm a doctor. And they said no.
Yeah, he's the.
That was on the video. The same videos that you're watching.
He is. They've got a protocol when there's an officer involved shooting. They followed their protocol, which is to get people are doctors. Some guy says he's a doctor on the street. Police officers don't have the same luxury you and I would have.
15 minutes later, and she bled out. What about officer training? Stop the bleed. I go through training where you stop the bleed. You know, and when you stop the bleed, you stop the bleed.
Let's do this.
So people doesn't bleed out
Let's
on
do
you.
this, Joe. You're going everywhere, far afield. The shots.
Because I'm right. That's
no,
right.
you're not right.
That is what you guys say.
No, Joe.
You're going everywhere.
Joe.
Your guys'
the
leader
shot
goes everywhere.
Was straight on. That means she was driving at him. Period. There's no denying that reality.
There's no denying that. But he could get out of the way. So you're saying if someone's coming at you, you could fire a weapon at them.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, that's the rules of engagement. That's the law. That's the law in Minnesota, by the way. That's the law in Minnesota. Yes.
That's the law. So your side is crying that on January 6th, when that lady was going through the window,
by the way, she was not
she
going
wasn't
through
going
the
through
window.
the window?
No, not at the time. Nope.
Okay, so that
Review the film again, Joe, and call me back. She was not
Bob,
going.
You're going to cut me off.
Review.
You're cutting me off.
Well, Joe, you've been on too long already because you're all over the place.
Right.
Call.
Okay. Thanks,
we'll
Bob.
talk again.
Appreciate
I've got no problem with that.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, man. We got to go. Bulldog, we'll take a break. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you dutifully, patriotically, by our man John Basiliga, featuring today one of his great companies, Serenity Care, a personal care community with 4 locations, Mid-Valley, Old Forge, Wyoming, Kingston. Dementia care services at their Mid-Valley and Kingston properties. Totally and completely renovated inside and out, the gold standard for senior care. For yourself or your family, check out Serenity Care. Ronald Petrilla, Ph.D. He was 71 when he died January 7th. He lived a life defined by education, service, and devotion to his family. Born in Summit, New Jersey, he grew up in Rahway until 1968 when the family moved to Hazleton. He graduated from MMI Preparatory School in 1972 and went on to earn a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Bloomsburg University, a Master of Science in Counselor Education from the University of Scranton in 1980, and a Ph.D. in Educational Administration from the University of Pennsylvania in 1985. We may have crossed paths. Following his undergraduate studies, Ron served as an ensign in the United States Naval Reserve, where he entered the pilot training program and was stationed at NAS Pensacola and Whiting Field, Florida. Ron dedicated 35 years of his professional life to serving as executive director of the Hazleton and Greater Wilkes-Barre Association for the Blind. He was also a partner in Unlimited Computer Corporation in Hazleton and served as an adjunct professor at Misericordia. He was a dedicated member of his community. The organizations he was involved with would impress you, believe me. It's an entire paragraph by itself. He's survived by his beloved wife of 48 years, Laura, his children, 4 grandsons, and other family members. Ronald Petrilla. James Hagenbuch. He was but 73. He was a former longtime psychiatric aide at DSH Danville. He died December 27th last year after a courageous battle with ALS. Born in Danville, attended Danville schools in Columbia, Montour area, Votech. When he was young, he worked for his uncle at Glenn's Atlantic gas station. He served this country with honor in the United States Marine Corps as a corporal, enlisting after graduation. He worked at Danville State Hospital as a psychiatric aide, retiring after 35 years of service. He also worked at Lewisburg Penitentiary, John David Advertising, and U.S. Company, U.S. Gibson. Member of the Trinity Lutheran Church, Danville, as well as the Continental Fire Company, Washington, the Washies Fire Company, the East End Fire Company, and the Washingtonville Fire Company. Member of the Danville American Legion. He was an excellent carpenter, full of fun, brought liveliness and laughter wherever he went. He loved deeply and was an honorable, hardworking, good man. Jim Hagenbuch is survived by his devoted wife of 21 years, Annette. He's also survived by his 4 children and 5 grandchildren. James Hagenbuch. Our great veterans this hour, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his great senior care community, Serenity Care. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Allie Gallo, brought to you by the gang up at Montage Mountain. The place is just great. It means winter fun. Montage means weather. The weather means Montage. Today, morning sun, then cloudy and breezy. High near 30. Tonight, cloudy with a chance of overnight snow showers. Low 25. Thursday, cloudy, breezy, and milder. High near 40. Great day to go to Montage. Friday, partly sunny and cooler. High near 30 degrees. All of that brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain. Check them out. Winter fun. Or just check out the great lodge and the Slocum Hollow Bar. Billy Joel. Murph says this date, 1978, he had the #1 adult charts hit with Just the Way You Are. And that clip previously from Robin Martyr. Babylon B. I'm telling you, you got to try, you got to look at it. You got to subscribe to it. They'll send it to you by your email. Babylon B. They say Trump disguises himself as Muslim migrant so Europe will let him invade Greenland. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Let's go to Glenn from Wilkes-Barre. Hi, Glenn. How you doing, man?
Oh, good. Good. You use the word acceleration. I think it's a huge detail that it's being missed by maybe everyone. I was walking across the street once, and a big Ford with a V8, it was a taxi, as a matter of fact, just didn't see me, it was dark. And he hits his gas pedal. People don't realize that huge noise you hear when you're standing in front of a V8 engine while it's accelerating. I mean, it scares you half to death.
I would think so, yeah.
Yes. And I went to the police because it was a taxi. And I said, he was reckless driving, scared me with that noise. And nobody is making that point. And you use the word acceleration. That's a key point because it's just stand in front of a vehicle with a V8 and then, hit the gas while it's in park, of course. You'd be amazed. People have no idea how loud it is.
I'd take a V6 and scare me.
Yeah. But,
and then they've got response protocols. These are trained officers.
Yes.
A vehicle is a weapon, period.
Yes. And that you use the word acceleration, and it scares you to death when you hear that noise in front of the car. You have no idea how noisy it is because you're inside the car. You have no idea how noisy, how loud. Standing in front of a car while it's pressing the gas pedal. Hugely. It'll scare you half to death.
And Glenn, the other point that it's overlooked in the discussion is that the officer who shot her had just been involved in being dragged down the street, getting caught in a door handle. His partner was caught in that door handle right in front of him as she was accelerating towards him. There were two things going on.
And across the nation, nobody is making the point about the loudness of a V8 engine accelerating.
Sure.
It's huge. It's like a thunder. You can't even think straight. It knocks your brains from thinking straight. That noise. Just try it sometimes.
No, I won't try it.
No,
That's why we have cops who are trained.
Okay.
I won't try it.
Okay. Thank you.
In fact, Glenn, I'll actively avoid it if I can.
Right. Well, yes. You got everyone laughing. Very good.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it, Glenn. I mean, this woman was a fool. Now, is that disrespectful to? No, it's what is. And she was trolling these cops, interfering with them, blocking their movement, and then trying to evade them when they gave her lawful order to stop and get out of the car. I don't understand it. I really don't understand. By the way, there is no other side to the argument, except if you lie about what happened and what was seen, and then base your argument on the lie. If this woman was, again, just think of this. Jessica Rothschild. What would you ask the cops in Scranton to do? If some idiot drove and went parallel in the middle of the road while they were trying to make execute a law enforcement action, and then wouldn't move, and then when they went over to the car, she accelerated, towards one officer, dragging another. Please tell me what you expect them to do. No, we're not going to get an answer because she's a fool, period. A disgrace. My God. And to use your puny little public platform to lie. You want to talk about people that are vulnerable to lying, Joe? The left are vulnerable to lies. Because that's all the left has. Quickly to Luciano from Luzerne County. Hi, Luciano.
Thank you, Bob, for taking my call. Let me just say this, and I don't stroke or pat your ego. Pat, believe me, I don't. Absolutely, to no human being. You are about one of the most courageous talk show hosts. You don't mince words. You don't sugarcoat. You'll probably be like many other Christians back in Jesus' time, where they were executed and murdered for just speaking their mind. And
well,
just let me say this.
Don't give me that fate.
Well, biblically speaking, all the apostles were murdered. All 10 of them were murdered and executed. And one
guy. I'm a radio
yeah, but I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying. 10 were murdered by these intellectual Pharisees and scribes. They were the intellectuals of those days. They were lawyers and politicians back, and they murdered Jesus. They also murdered all 10 apostles, and one of them, Judas, he committed suicide, and the other one, the last one, he was sent to an island, and thank God he escaped the island. I think it was John, and he's the only one that survived at the age of 97 years old when he came back to Rome. But just let me say this. Why don't you, people out there, this is News Talk Radio, WILK. It's not News Text Radio. Why don't you call Bob or any talk show host and tell him what you think of his opinion, cowards?
Well,
and Bob, one last
thing. The texts are helpful, but
they help.
But Luciano, listen, you don't have to worry about me getting a big head. I've got so much to be humble about.
And one last thing before I forget, I listen to Spanish talk radio. I listen to Mexican news talk radio and Mexican news. The Mexicano, the president, Claudio Sheinbaum, is deporting Venezolanos left and right, Central Americans, South American, Haitians, Africans. They've deported all of them. You cannot enter Mexico at all. And do they want to call Mexico a racist country when they're deporting so many people of third world countries, especially 90%, which are of Hispanic blood, Bob? The hypocrisy is insane.
It's lying. You can't be a supporter of the left in today's Democrat Party without lying and being a hypocrite. That's how sad it's become. It's what is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Bob. Take care,
Luciano.
brother.
Always
right,
a pleasure. We got to start playing his theme song again, Bulldog. But we've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. You sort of got to be older to know about Wolfman Jack. Murph tells us this date, 1938. Bob Smith, better known as Wolfman Jack, famous DJ and host of the television show The Midnight Special, born Brooklyn, New York. Died of a heart attack July 1st, 1995 in Belvedere, South Carolina. The Guess Who did a song clap for the Wolfman because those guys made records happen, didn't they? Somebody takes in, we'll need to resurrect the Warren Commission to track that bullet. It's right in the front windshield, which means she was coming at him when he shot, because we know he shot after she accelerated. And you don't shoot one shot. When a lethal weapon is aimed at an officer, they shoot to kill. Period. By the way, we're finishing up with Queen, because on this date in 1978, Murph says they moved up to number 7 with their hit, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions. Yeah, it's a contentious thing. And by the way, somebody says ALTS. For any liberal in earshot, walking on train tracks can be hazardous to your health. Apparently, we have to tell them that. And help them cross the street, because a moving car apparently doesn't frighten them. Now, God willing, we're going to be here tomorrow morning and get with you and go over this all again. But I'm telling you, it's frustrating. The officer acted in a justifiable manner. That's one fact. That's one part of the truth. Fact number 2, this woman was a fool who took obstruction of law enforcement actions lightly. Number 3, her death was a tragedy. Beyond that, I don't know what else you could establish. Somebody said, Bob, I don't know what video you're watching, but the video I've seen, that cop had enough time to switch from his phone in one hand, filming it, to grab his Glock. Waited till she moved and then shot her. Yeah, he waited till she moved. You just made the point. Exactly. Exactamundo, if we want to use Spanish. Or Spanglish. Well, as Freddie Mercury drones on, one more mention of our great veterans today, brought to you by John Basiliga and Serenity Care. Paul Sweeney, North Scranton. Joseph Samsel, Taylor. Debbie Kane Fay, Carbondale and Scranton. Art Poley, late of Virginia, but he was from Old Forge. Ronald Petrilla, Hazleton. James Hagenbook, Danville. Thank you to them, their families. And by the way, we don't do on Fridays our policeman's prayer for nothing. They're there on the front line, and they're protecting you from savagery and savages. I don't know why you don't get that, some of you, but try to sit down and really think, and it might come to you. It just might. All right, guys. Sue Henry show next. The Rob O'Donnell show after that. But for now, no matter what I think, no matter what I want to do, I've got to say adios, and we've got to gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, because my Bacardo Jewelers watch tells me it is noon. Have a great afternoon.